Yo, good morning. Good morning, all. This is your man, Levon, and this is Levon Says, you dig? Well, our goal is to inspire, to learn, to encourage, to laugh, to love, to motivate, you know what I'm saying? And ultimately to enlighten you. So this morning, we're going to talk about Deuteronomy 31:6. But before we get into that, please like this channel. Please support this channel. Please share the videos on all your platforms. And most importantly, hit that subscribe button so you're always notified whenever I upload content, and we upload on a daily basis. Now let's get into the word. I want to talk about fear this morning, right? Fear and being afraid, because they are slightly different. Though they're related, they're similar. Fear is dealing more on the spiritual and the mental, as to where being afraid is dealing more on the tangible and the physical. You dig? All right, so now let's talk about it. Be strong and of a good courage, right? Fear not, nor be afraid of them. For the Lord thy God, he it is that goeth with you. He will not fail thee, nor will he forsake thee. That's Deuteronomy 31:6. He says, be strong and of good courage, right? Then the first thing that he attacks is not being afraid. The first thing he attacks is fear. Why? Because fear is mental and it's spiritual. See, if I try to attack a problem that you have that is physical, and I don't address the spiritual first, it don't matter what I do in the physical, you're still gonna have an issue with that thing in the spiritual. But if I attack the spiritual first, if I attack the mental and emotional first, deal with that first, then the physical and the tangible is a whole lot more easier to manage and to deal with. This is why God says, fear not. He doesn't address being afraid first. Remember, being afraid is dealing with the physical and the tangible. But he addresses the mental and emotional and spiritual first by saying, fear not. Because fear is a spiritual thing. Being afraid is a physical thing. Okay? You got my attention. Fear is an emotional response. You dig? It's an emotional and mental response. Fear comes upon you. It grips you. It freezes you. It paralyzes you. You can't move. You can't speak. This is what fear does. Fear attacks our mentality and attacks our spirituality. Okay? Fear. But being afraid is more of a physical and a tangible response to fear. Okay? When you have fear upon you or in you, when you're gripped with it, when it paralyzes you, there's nothing you can do. You can't move. You can't take chances or risks or speak. But if you're afraid, the difference is when you're afraid, you can still move. When you're afraid, you can still speak and voice your opinion. When you're afraid, you can still operate and make decisions. You dig? Because being afraid affects our physical, our tangible. We can still do things being afraid. It's not the best way to do things, but being afraid does not grip you. It does not stranglehold you and bind you and put you in chains till you can't even move. Fear does that, because fear, again, deals with the emotional and the spiritual, as to where being afraid deals more with the physical and the tangible. I'll give you an example of what I'm talking about. For those of you that have not watched my Chunky Monkey video, please go back and look and watch my Chunky Monkey video. It will explain a lot. But during that time, there was a point where fear had came upon me, right? When I had ran into that barn, and, you know, and by the time I realized I came to and I realized what had happened, right? Fear for a moment had gripped me because I couldn't move. I was stuck. I was scared to even make a sound. But something happened to where, and all I can tell y'all is it was an unctioning of the Holy Spirit that unctioned me to get up out of that situation. And so therefore, when I had that unction, it gave me just enough spark to where fear was not gripping me now. I was afraid, but I no longer was in fear, okay? And the difference was I was able to move. I was able to react. I was able to get out of that situation rather than just being fearful and being stuck and feeling like there's nothing I can do, there's nothing I can say, there's nowhere I can go, there's no one here to help me. You see, I thank God that he didn't allow me to stay in that fearful place, because in that fearful place, there's nothing I could do, man. I was just going to be sitting there until somebody found me. You know what I'm saying? But God broke that off of me, thankfully, because I didn't have the strength to. But when he broke that fear off of me, though I was still afraid, I could move. I could shake and bake. You know what I'm saying? I could get to where I needed to go. And I just wasn't gripped and paralyzed with fear. You dig? Never thought about it like that. So a lot of times, man, when it comes to us making decisions, we may have a little trepidations, right? We may be a little afraid, but don't let fear take over. Don't let fear come upon you to such a degree to where you can't function, you can't move, you know. And we need to start speaking things exactly as they are. Now, when I say speaking things as they are, what I mean is when we're afraid, stop using the word fear, because now you're crossing the words and they mean different things. Okay? We have to learn to be careful to say what it is that we want to say. We don't have the spirit of fear, y'all. God has not given us the spirit of fear. That's one thing he has not given, the spirit of fear, but of love, of peace, and a sound mind, right? Or self-control. That's what he's given us. Love, peace, and self-control, right? Not the spirit of fear. He has not given that to us. And being afraid is a byproduct of the spirit of fear. Being afraid is a byproduct of it. How do we know this? Okay, I'll give you an example for me. I'm afraid of the doctors. Yeah, I said it. Y'all go ahead and laugh. You can make fun. You can say what you want to say. Yes, I'm afraid of the doctors. I do not like going to the doctors. Now, will I? Yeah, I'll go. I don't like to go. Sometimes I feel like I have to force myself to go. Am I fearful of going to the doctor? No, I'm not fearful. I'm not paralyzed and I'm not frozen and I can't operate. No. But am I afraid? Yes, I can admit that. Yes, God, I need help in that area. When it comes to going to the doctor, I'm afraid. Now, I'm going to the doctor this morning, y'all. All right? Because my finger, if you can see, my finger is pussy, is jacked up. I don't know if it's an ingrown nail. I don't know what happened, but I got to go get this pressure off my finger because it's really, really, really hurting. But yeah, there's some trepidation about going to the hospital, about going to the doctor. You dig? I don't know if they're going to have to lance it or, you know, I don't know what they're going to have to do. there's a little being afraid there. I can admit that, because God, I need you to help me in that area. But it's not to the point to where I can't make a decision about going to the doctor. I know it's what's best. It's not to the point to where I'm just frozen saying, oh, Jesus, no, I just can't see it. You're going to have to help me, God, because I can't see doing that. That's just, right? But fear, if I was gripped with fear, which is mental and spiritual, fear would have went to a whole nother level. Fear would have been thinking, oh my God, my finger's gonna fall off, or, you know, something is gonna happen. You know, if I just let this go and I ignore it, you know, something could get him, you know, in my bloodstream. It could affect me. It could, you know. So now I'm going off of mentally. I'm making up things in my mind mentally. Spiritually, I'm thinking about things that could happen that have not happened, have not taken place. There's no inclination of it taking place, but in my mind, it's starting to be bombarded with thoughts. My mind is starting to be inundated with things that either are coming from my flesh or things that are coming from the enemy. And if I don't rebuke those things, if I don't reject those things, if I don't bring those things under subjection with the authority that Christ has given me, because I don't live according to fear. He hasn't given me the spirit of fear. Then I need to take that thing and grab a hold of it and lock it away. And then I need to go take it to Jesus. Here you go, Jesus. Take the whole boxes. Here you go, Jesus. This was trying to this was trying to attack me. It was trying to come against me. It was trying to get me. So look at here. I'm going to leave it right here at the altar with you, and I'm going about my business. Because I ain't got time for that. Y'all remember that? Y'all remember that old meme like years ago? Lady came in and said, ain't nobody got time for that. Yeah, that's what we need to do to Jesus. Just bring it to Jesus. Say, look, Jesus, here you go. Because ain't nobody got time for that. No, 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 no. You said bring all my cares to you and cast them upon you because you care for me. Okay, here you go. Right? That's what we need to do when it comes to fear, man. Fear breaks our body down. It deteriorates us. It kills, you know, our cells, and it causes us not to do things that we know that we should do to live. Wait, say what? Right? For the betterment of our body, for our health, for our mental state. But fear, man, fear will come in and tell you, no, 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 no. Can't do that. No, 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 no. No, you can't pray. No, 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 no. No, you can't praise. Oh, no, you definitely can't love. No, what we need to do is tell fear, yo, I'm not dealing with you no more. It's time for you to kick rocks. I'm tired of being frozen and stuck in place. I'm tired of not being able to move and make no decisions because of you, fear. Today, me and you are done. That's the attitude we need to have when it comes to fear. So what are some of the things, man, that you're afraid of, right? Think about it. Try to see if you can name 5 things that you're afraid of, right? These are the things that may not stop you. They may hinder you somewhat. They may slow you down. But these are things that you are physically afraid of, okay? And then see if you can name 5 things that you're fearful about. Understanding that fear is, again, based off of your emotion and your spirituality, as to where being afraid is more based upon physical, tangible. All right? So those things that you name that you're fearful of, those are the areas that you need to work on. Seriously. Okay, whatever you've named, whatever you have determined that are areas that you're fearful, those are the areas that you need to attack first. The things that you're afraid of or afraid about, those things you can manage. But those things that you're fearful of, get rid of them. Because they will cause your downfall. They will cause you to be stifled, right? They'll cause you to be hindered in your walk. Because again, God has not given us the spirit of fear, but of love, power, and a sound mind. And it's so important, man, that we identify these areas of weaknesses in our lives, right? Those areas where we're fearful, because those areas the enemy can get in and play on us. He can get in and you know, whisper words in our mind, and before we know it, because we have, you know, we're afraid of some things. If we're not careful to denounce those things that the enemy tries to put in our mind and put on our heart, guess what? We'll start thinking on that. We'll start entertaining it. Next thing you know, we've adopted and made it ours. Now that thing has opened the door to fear in our life. And it used being afraid to play on it. It used being afraid to piggyback to be able to get in and leave those sentences, leave those words, leave those comments, leave those feelings that if we don't check them, then they will resort to more greater things in our lives that'll come against us. You know, we may be fearful of something that's tremendous and important, but it hasn't blown up to this great big thing yet. But because we didn't denounce it, we didn't get rid of it, because in some small way we wind up accepting it, right? And taking it on and making it a part of whatever we were afraid of. Now we own it. Now it's ours, right? The devil didn't force it onto us. Didn't nobody put a gun to our head and make us accept it, but we owned it. Because when we heard it, when the thought came, we didn't denounce it. We didn't rebuke it. Immediately. Preach, bro. You know you preaching. Preach. Right? And so now we're wondering, wait a minute, hold on. Where did this come from? Hold on. I wasn't dealing with this before. I wasn't struggling with this before. So where now, all of a sudden, out of the blue, has this problem come? And it's come because of not taking care of business. Not making sure that we were getting rid of any kind of fear that was trying to attach itself to us via or through the way of what we're afraid about. So those are things, man, that we really, really need to work on. Those things that we have identified as the things that we're fearful of. You dig? Because we don't need that in our lives. That's not how God has designed us nor made us. Message.
So we're just gonna lift the skin up. That's all we're doing.
Oh.
Reach down and grab a pair. So, well, dude, you're fine, you're fine.
Doing good. What'd you do to it?
I didn't do anything.
Oh, we don't know.
I thought maybe it's an ingrown nail or a spider bite or something.
That's like jackpot right there.
Yeah.
But that feels better already, huh? Right?
Yeah.
I'm just tingling right now, so I'm just...
Can you get that stuff out?
Good.
Oh gosh. Oh.
Not moving. I'm just pressing on this.
Oh, I know. Oh.
He's filming this thing.
Oh, Jesus. Oh, that hurts. Oh, so good. God,
Hurts so good.
That's a lie. Whoever said me came with that song.
Got a lot out though.
Yeah.
You're doing okay.
Just gotta get out.
I think most of it's out, believe it or not. So you're not allergic to anything, right?
No.
So we'll put you on some antibiotics, and then you should soak your finger. We'll give you maybe give them a little basin, and you can just soak it in some soapy water. Oh well, you can just do soapy water, warm soapy water.
Okay.
You have that, right?
Yeah.
You have access to that somewhere. Just soak it twice a day.
Yeah, that looks tender.
And it'll get better. I'm not going to torture you anymore. How about that?
Yo, they got me sucking my fingernail, y'all. And this eye diet. Got it in there, fucking clean it out. It hurt like a son of a gun, you hear me? It really hurt, y'all. Let me tell you something. Be careful. Try not to get nothing up under your fingernails or in between your cuticles. And man, it hurt. Don't do like I did. Wait a whole week. You know what I'm saying? Go get that immediately checked out. It probably wouldn't have been this bad if I wouldn't have waited all week long. Didn't mean to gross y'all out, but I had to show y'all what your boy was dealing with, the kind of pain I was in. You know what I'm saying? I was afraid to come up in here. I ain't gonna lie. I'm still a little leery, you know what I'm saying? But I wasn't gonna let it stop me from doing what I needed to do. That's the difference, y'all, between being afraid and being gripped with fear. You dig? And being afraid, check this out. I have the power to get rid of you. You dig? And I will no longer be afraid. Because being afraid is a byproduct of fear. You know how they talk about the chip off the old block, right? Well, fear, right, is the block. Being afraid is just a chip off that block. Preach, bro. You know you preaching. Preach. You need to say that again. I think they need to hear that again. Y'all didn't hear it? You need to say that again. That chip is not the block. That chip doesn't have the same power as the block. It's just a chip, right? But if you take that chip and you get rid of it, right? You toss it out, you burn it up, you say la vie, then it won't have any power over you. It won't have no connection to the block because you got rid of the chip. Message. Anyway, this is your man, Levon. Thank you for joining me on Levon Says. I just wanted to come on this morning and encourage y'all not to be afraid. Because being afraid is a byproduct of fear. Being afraid is something that comes out in the tangible, right? It comes out in the physical, in our physical. But fear is something that is spiritual, okay? Fear is something that you have to ask God to get rid of. Fear is something that you have to have his anointing and his power to take out of your life, because most folks cannot get rid of fear. They're controlled by fear. Okay, I'm feeling that. I'm feeling that. Whether it's fear in their finances, fear in their relationships, fear when it comes to, a job, promotions, moving, trying something different, fear when it comes to their education, fear when it comes to a whole lot of things, addressing issues and problems that should have been addressed a long time ago, but you just let them go and let them go. Why? I just don't want to cause no waves. I don't want to be a problem. I don't want to step on nobody's toes. No, you've been operating in fear. And fear is what has stopped you from doing what you know you need to do, or what you know you need to say, or where you know you need to go. Let's get rid of the fear with the anointing of Christ. And let's put away being afraid, because God has not given us the spirit of fear, but of love, of power, and a sound mind or self-control. You dig? Preach, bro. You know you preaching. Preach. Yo, this is your man, Levon. This has been Levon Says. Thank you so much for joining me on my channel today, right? Where again, this channel's purpose is to love, to uplift, to motivate, to inspire, to learn, to laugh, to encourage, and to enlighten. This is your man, Levon, and I'm out. Love y'all. Please join in Monday through Friday for your weekly motivational message. You dig? One love.